Son's daughter, peace be with you. Today I come close to your heart gently because I know it carries a silent weight. Grief, that space where so many tears are kept, often feels like a voiceless desert. But I want to remind you, I am here, and your pain, it says more than you realize. When I walked among you, I felt up close the suffering of those who cried over their losses. I saw mothers who buried their children. I saw friends who asked me to heal someone who was slipping away. I saw strong men trembling in the face of goodbye, and I sat beside them, not to rush their tears, but to honor the love that lived inside those tears. Grief is not a mistake, not a punishment, not a spiritual failure. It is a mirror, a deep mirror that shows how deeply you were connected, how much your souls touched, how much love left marks that neither time nor death can erase. Son, daughter, do not be afraid of the pain that visits you now. It did not come to destroy you. It came to show the value of the bond that existed, and that still exists. When I wept over the death of Lazarus, many did not understand, but I knew. Grief is a language of love, and at the same time, it is a call to dive within. When life loses someone who was support, laughter, companionship, something inside of you is invited to grow. Not as someone who replaces what was lost, but as someone who allows this experience to reveal new paths, more compassion, more gratitude, more awareness of what truly matters. Beloved son, beloved daughter, let me hold your heart now. Your pain is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you loved, and love is never useless. Breathe for a moment. Do you notice that space that opens inside you when the silence comes? That space is not empty. It is a place where the Spirit works, where your inner self is reorganized, where your feelings find shape and meaning. Loss invites you to look within, to get to know parts of yourself that only reveal themselves when life changes in such a sudden way. Allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself, even through tears, to discover who you are becoming. And if today your heart asks, why does it hurt so much? Welcome that question with tenderness, because it is born out of love. The pain of grief is not about death itself, but about everything life meant by the side of the one who left. Each memory that returns is an invitation to recognize how much that presence shaped you, transformed you, walked with you. Now, son, daughter, do something simple yet profound. Set aside a moment in your day to breathe consciously and say to yourself, my pain reveals the value of the love I lived. I allow myself to feel, and I allow myself to learn. It's not about getting over it quickly. It's not about forgetting. It's about honoring. And when the longing tightens your chest, remember that I am by your side. I walk with you, even in the densest shadows. Your pain does not push me away. It draws me closer, because I know the weight of goodbyes and the hope that rises again after them. Grief is a silent teacher that speaks to the heart. It calls you to grow from the inside, to see the depth of your relationships, to awaken a more conscious and loving version of yourself. I am here, holding your hand, and together we will turn this pain into understanding, this longing into spiritual maturity, this emptiness into fertile ground where something new can bloom. Son, daughter, you are not alone. Son, daughter, peace be with you. As I continue walking with you through this quiet valley that is grief, I want your heart to hear something very gently. You did not fail the one who left. I know that when goodbye arrives, many thoughts rise up inside you. Thoughts that wound, that accuse, that whisper. I could have done more. If only I had acted differently. It was my fault. These voices do not come from love. They come from pain. And pain, when it is not understood, creates shadows. When I lived among you, I met many hearts carrying the same kind of guilt. People who thought their gestures weren't enough, who believed they had been careless, who feared they had disappointed those they loved. And gently I told them, the time of each soul is not in human hands, but in a script much greater than anyone can see. Beloved son, beloved daughter, no one leaves a second earlier or later than their journey requires. Goodbyes are part of a spiritual tapestry that only makes sense when you look at it through the eyes of eternity. Guilt makes you believe that the love you offered was not enough, but love is never measured by the number of days, and yes, by the truth that existed in them. You did not fail, not even in the hard decisions, the inevitable absences, the words that were left unsaid. The soul that left was not the victim of neglect. It walked all the way to the exact point where its purpose was fulfilled. And what you did, how you loved, how you cared, every bit of it was enough for what that soul needed to live. When I looked at the crowds that came to me, I saw their stories as a whole, and many times I whispered in the silence, if they could see what I see, they would stop punishing themselves. That is why I tell you now, do not carry on your shoulders a weight that is not yours. Love never failed, and you loved in your own way, with the tools you had, with the heart you possessed at that moment. Breathe, son. Breathe, daughter. Let go of this guilt that eats away at you from the inside. It does not honor the one who left. It only hurts you. I want to propose a simple, yet deeply healing gesture. Write a letter to the one who is gone. Write slowly. Write truthfully. Say what remained locked inside. Ask for forgiveness if your heart feels the need. Offer forgiveness if some part of you still hurts. Give thanks for what you lived together. Acknowledge the bond, the journey, the love. And then when you finish, place this letter in your hands and offer it in prayer, saying, I release this guilt. I honor your life. I trust that your passing was part of something greater. Son, daughter, when you do this, the soul that left looks at you with serenity. It doesn't accuse you. It doesn't point out your mistakes. It recognizes you. It loves you. It understands you. Souls in my kingdom do not hold grudges. They see clearly what you here still cannot fully see. And I am here, at your side, to help you let the guilt go, like a fog that dissolves when the light comes. If your heart feels like it, share in the comments of this episode what this reflection stirred in you. Maybe your experience will be the light for someone else who also suffers in silence. I remain with you. Son, daughter, come a little closer. Today I want to talk with you about something many people feel, but few understand. The encounters that the soul recognizes even before the mind can make sense of them. When I walked among you, I often looked at people who were coming toward me, and I could tell we were connected long before that moment. There were meetings that were not the work of chance. There were bonds that went beyond time. There were stories that had begun long before the first glance. The same is true for you. There are people whose presence awakens in you an immediate affection, a sense of comfort, a familiarity that logic cannot explain. And there are also those whose departure makes you hurt in a deeply mysterious way, as if something inside you remembered an older bond, and because of that, felt so much. Son, daughter, before you are born, souls are like travelers who talk to one another. They agree on paths, on meetings, on support, on challenges, and even on goodbyes. They are silent agreements, made in the space of love, so that each one may grow in the measure that is right. These agreements do not cancel your freedom, but they outline possibilities. They do not imprison you, but they lead you toward experiences that awaken your soul. Some souls come to walk beside you for many years, others for only a few. Some come to teach, others to transform. Some appear in brief moments that mark an entire lifetime. But all of them, absolutely all of them, cross your path for a reason greater than it first appears. And when someone leaves early, or when a relationship changes suddenly, the human heart asks, why? Why so fast? Why like this? But the soul, deep inside, whispers, it was part of the agreement, part of what we chose in order to grow. Beloved son, beloved daughter, don't be afraid of this spiritual truth. It doesn't shrink your pain. It widens your understanding of it. The goodbye is not punishment. The love you shared was not a random accident. There was purpose, there was exchange, there was a deep encounter that your soul recognized even before your body existed. And I want to invite you to a simple but revealing gesture. Ask in prayer or meditation, Lord, what was the agreement of love behind this story? Ask this with humility, not looking for quick answers, but for an open heart. With time, gentle insights will begin to appear, intuitions, meaningful memories, understandings that arrive like a light being turned on inside your chest. Son, daughter, there is wisdom in your pain that you haven't fully seen yet. Many times the one who left fulfilled exactly what the spiritual agreement asked for, to awaken in you courage, sensitivity, compassion, responsibility, purpose. And when the mission is complete, the soul returns to my kingdom with gratitude, not with sadness, for the chance it had to live by your side. Nothing you shared was wasted. Nothing was too small. Nothing was meaningless. And even if your mind doesn't remember these contracts, your heart does. It feels them in the encounters, in the farewells, in the longing, and in the transformation that comes afterward. Allow yourself to trust. Allow yourself to open that space within you. Allow yourself to welcome the mystery, not as something that confuses you, but as something that draws you closer to the greater love that holds all stories together. I am here. I walk with you as your understanding grows, as your soul expands, as your pain is reshaped into meaning. And I tell you tenderly, no true bond ever ends. It only changes form. And no deep encounter exists without something sacred standing behind it. Son, daughter, breathe with serenity. The journey goes on, and your heart will slowly learn to see not only the pain, but also the beauty that embraces it from within. Son, daughter, peace be with you. As we walk together through this valley that mixes longing and the search for meaning, I want your heart to receive a truth that many are afraid to face. The departure of the one you love was not a mistake. I know that when someone leaves, the mind looks for someone to blame, for reasons, for explanations. And the heart, wounded, asks in pain, why did this happen to me? Why so soon? Why in this way? Son, daughter, listen to me calmly. Nothing in the Father's love happens by accident. Not the meetings, not the separations, not the arrivals, not the goodbyes. The life of every soul follows a purpose that from here on earth seems impossible to understand, but it is not chaos. It is mystery. And mystery, when looked at with humility and faith, stops wounding and begins to illuminate. When I walked among you, many desperate hearts came to me trying to understand the pain of their losses. Some believed that God had abandoned them. Others felt that everything was far too unfair. And I welcomed them. I listened to them. I wept with them. But I also showed them that the Father sees farther than any human eyes can reach. The passing of someone you love is not punishment. It is not a flaw in the universe. It is not disorder. It is part of a path that involves many more dimensions than the ones your eyes can see right now. Son, daughter, don't be afraid of this idea. I am not speaking to confuse you, but to bring you peace. Death is never the final period for the spirit. Life is not ripped away too early. It is guided. There is a deep, loving, silent wisdom holding every cycle together. I know it hurts. I know you would give anything to have one more day, one more conversation, one more hug. But I want to invite you to look at this pain from another angle. What if the departure was not a mistake, but a turning point in your journey? What if what seems like loss today may later reveal itself as part of a movement of transformation? When the mind asks, why did this happen to me? It tries to drag the whole world into your pain. But when the heart asks, Lord, What is this experience trying to teach me? It opens space for grace to come in. Beloved son, beloved daughter, change the question. Because the answer you seek is not inside despair, but inside trust. And trust says to you, this story has meaning, even if I cannot see it yet. I want you to try something simple. In the next few days, when the longing is strong, close your eyes and say, Father, I don't understand everything, but I trust that nothing we lived was in vain. Show me what I can learn from this pain. Do this with sincerity. Do this without rushing. Do this as someone who places their heart in the hands of the one who knows the beginning and the end of all things. With time, you will see that the goodbye did not come to crush you, but to transform you. You will see that love did not end, it simply changed form. You will see that even in what looks like chaos, there is a gentle choreography guiding your steps. I am with you in this process. I hold you up when your faith trembles. I embrace you when your tears come without warning, and I say to you, there was no mistake. There was purpose. Purpose greater than your pain, greater than your doubts, greater than your longing. Son, daughter, keep walking with me. Peace will still bloom where today there are tears. Son, daughter, bring your heart a little closer. Today I want to speak about something that touches a very sensitive place in the human soul. Lives that seem far too brief, but leave marks far too deep to ever be called small. When I walked on the earth, I saw many quick departures. I saw children leaving their mother's arms. I saw young people who were gone earlier than anyone expected. I saw people whose presence seemed to last just a breath. And whenever that happened, I drew near, because I knew that behind that pain there was a greatness that human eyes almost never see. Son, daughter. Some souls come into the world as catalysts. They arrive to awaken something, to open something, to transform something. Sometimes they stay many years, sometimes only days, hours, even minutes. But don't be mistaken. The measure of a soul's purpose is not in the amount of time it lived, but in the spiritual intensity of the impact it leaves. Have you noticed that certain presences, even very young ones, change the atmosphere of an entire home? That certain smiles light up very old wounds? That certain babies, even without saying a word, bring whole families closer, help them forgive one another, help them reorganize? Beloved son, beloved daughter, there are souls that come exactly for this, to awaken love where there was coldness, unity where there was distance, awareness where there was distraction. And when they complete this mission, they return to my kingdom, leaving behind them a trail of transformation. Many ask, but Lord, why so little time? And I answer tenderly, because the purpose did not depend on the length of the time, but on the depth of it. A catalyst soul does not measure its passage by the number of days, but by the change it plants in people's hearts. It is like a quick flame that lights many others, like the wind that passes and shifts the direction of everything, like a short song you never forget. I know it hurts when someone you love leaves too soon. I know your chest tightens and your mind keeps asking, they never got to live anything. But today, I want to offer you another way to see it. What if that soul actually lived exactly what it needed? What if it came only to open what was closed, soften what was hard, bring together what was separated? Son, daughter, there are transformations that only happen when life is touched by something so pure and brief that it wakes up everyone who remains. Maybe after that departure, your family changed. Maybe you became someone more sensitive, more compassionate, more aware. Maybe you started to value things you used to ignore. Maybe you realized how much you love, and how much more you can still love. These changes are not random. They are seeds left by the catalyst soul. And you, the one who suffers the longing, are also the one who carries the fruit of that brief passage. I want to invite you to a deep reflection. Ask your heart, what transformation did this presence awaken in me and in my family? Do not look for purely intellectual answers. True transformation is seen in the way your steps have changed, in the way your eyes look at life now, in the way your heart opens itself to others. Son, daughter, the love that this soul brought is still alive in you, and as you honor that transformation, you also honor its mission. No life is too short when it fulfills what it came to do. No passage is small when it awakens love. No goodbye is final when it leaves spiritual seeds behind. I walk with you. I strengthen you. I hold your longing and slowly turn it into light inside you, little by little. Son, daughter, peace be with you. Today I want to touch on a delicate theme, something many hearts feel in an intuitive way. That sense of reunion, of immediate familiarity, of bonds that seem to come back to life at unexpected moments in your journey. But I want to talk about this with you in full respect of the Father's truth, without going beyond what my word has revealed. Listen calmly. When I walked among you, many times I saw people coming toward me with the feeling of meeting an old friend, even though we had never seen each other before in that life. That recognition was not about returns from past lives, for the soul is born once, lives once, and then returns to the Father. But it was about something just as deep. The bonds that the Holy Spirit weaves between people whose missions cross at the right time. Son, daughter, there are connections that heaven prepares. There are encounters so meaningful that when they happen, the heart says, I know you. And this happens because even before you came close to each other, the Father was already working so that the joining of those paths would bring growth, healing, comfort, or direction. So when I speak of return, I am not talking about a soul coming back into the world as if starting all over again. That does not happen. I am speaking of something completely consistent with the faith I gave you. The Father can make people cross your story at different moments, in different roles, bringing new graces, new lessons, and new bonds that nourish your journey. That is why sometimes someone steps into your life and, in just a few days, feels like they have been part of your story for decades. That is why some friendships bloom instantly. That is why some loves feel like they have ancient roots, even though they began recently. It is not the return of a previous life. It is the reunion of purposes the Father prepared long before you were aware of it. And the same happens with those who have passed away. Beloved son, beloved daughter, those who have gone do not come back to earth, but they can return to your life in other ways, through memories that strengthen you, through lessons that keep shaping your character, through gestures you repeat because you learned them from them, through values passed on from generation to generation, through new people the Father sends to walk with you in places where that person once walked by your side, and when someone new appears in your life bringing a kind of comfort that reminds you of the one who left. It is not replacement. It is providence. It is care. It is the Father saying, I am still with you. I am still giving you support. This does not erase your longing, but it does light a softer understanding. Love never leaves your story abandoned. It keeps finding ways to reach you. I want to suggest a simple and deep spiritual exercise. In the next few days, when you meet someone who touches your heart in an unusual way, ask in silence, Lord, what is the purpose of this encounter? And pay attention. Sometimes the answer does not come as words, but as peace. And where there is peace, there is direction. Son, daughter, do not be afraid to open yourself to these reunions the Father offers you. They do not replace anyone, but they do expand your capacity to love. Souls do not return to the world, but the love of God returns to your life in 1,000 ways, including through people who arrive in a brand new chapter of your story. I am with you always, and I walk beside you as life presents you with these gentle gifts from heaven. Son, daughter, come, sit with me for a moment. Today, I want to lead you toward a different way of seeing something that often hurts deeply. The feeling that life is out of order, disorganized, unfair, chaotic. When pain shows up, when grief tightens your chest, when the unexpected wounds you, the human heart usually thinks, everything has spun out of control. But tenderly I tell you, nothing is outside the Father's hands, not your pain, not your path, not the mystery that surrounded the departure of the one you love. Son, daughter. The mind, when it is hurting, only sees broken pieces, memories, regrets, longing, questions with no answers. It looks at all that and believes it is seeing chaos. But the Father sees much farther. He contemplates your whole story, before, during, and after. And from His perspective, what looks like confusion to you is often a careful choreography, where each step leads you to an inner awakening. When I walked among you, many people came to me asking why they were in pain. Others wanted to understand the reason for the suffering they were going through. And with love, I showed them that life is not just a series of random events. It is a path. And every path has curves that teach, valleys that deepen, hills that strengthen. The same is true for you. I know that the goodbye you went through feels like a blow that knocked you off balance. But I want you to hear this with care. There is a hidden order inside this pain. And I am not talking about a cold, distant, or rigid order, but a loving one. One that shapes your heart, purifies your feelings, and teaches you to love in a fuller and more conscious way. Son, daughter, nothing you live is useless. Nothing is wasted when you place it in the Father's hands. Even what made you cry can be turned into wisdom, compassion, and depth. And I want to guide you toward a simple but enlightening practice. In the next few days, take a few minutes to write, to pray, to meditate, or even to talk with someone you trust about this question. Lord, where is the hidden order inside this pain? Do not look for ready-made answers. Allow the stillness to work inside you. Healing does not happen only when you understand. It also happens when you allow yourself to be led. When I was with my disciples in difficult moments, they often did not understand what was happening. They thought everything was falling apart, but later they realized that every step, even those that looked confusing, had a purpose. The same is true for your journey. Son, daughter, maybe today you only see darkness, but as you walk with me, a subtle light will begin to appear, and little by little you will realize pain has made you see with more honesty. Longing has awakened in you a love that was sleeping. Loss has taught you to value what truly matters. Grief has opened you to a new spiritual sensitivity. This doesn't make the pain disappear, but it gives it direction. And when pain gains direction, it stops dragging you and starts transforming you. I am here, son, daughter. I will not let you walk alone. And I want you to know, what feels like disorder today will one day be seen as part of a wider, deeper, more beautiful work. And if you feel it in your heart, subscribe to follow the next episodes of this journey. That way we can stay together step by step in the light the Father offers you with so much love. Son, daughter, let me hold you a little closer today. I want to talk with you about something that touches very deep wounds. Lives so brief, so fast, so delicate, that they seem to have had no time to truly exist. But in reality, they carried a purpose that reaches far beyond many long lifetimes. When I walked among you, I saw mothers who held their babies for just a few minutes and yet felt a love no amount of time could measure. I saw families who said goodbye far too soon to little ones who had barely learned to speak. And I also saw adults who left so quickly that the hearts of those who stayed behind could not keep up with the pace of the farewell. And in each of these stories I bowed with deep respect because I could see something there that you often cannot see. There are souls that come to earth simply to touch and then go. They arrive like a soft breath, like a breeze that passes quickly, but that in passing changes everything. Beloved son, beloved daughter, the value of a life is not found in its length, but in its mission. A soul that lived only minutes can fulfill a greater purpose than some who lived entire decades, because purpose is not rooted in time on the clock. It is rooted in what love awakens. There are babies who come to restore bonds between people who had grown distant. There are children who awaken compassion in families that had grown hard. There are very short lives that show the world both the fragility and the greatness of loving with no guarantees. There are brief presences that leave an eternal mark, teaching those who remain to live with more honesty, more gentleness, more presence. Son, daughter, I know your heart may say, but they never got to live anything. And tenderly, I answer you, they lived exactly what they needed to live. Every second was full, because the presence of that soul was not measured in quantity, but in spiritual depth. And I want you to notice something. Almost always, when a soul touches and goes, the entire family is changed. Priorities change, conversations change, habits change, choices change. It is as if that brief light made it clear what really matters and swept away the excess that had been suffocating the heart. Son, daughter, that change is not an accident. It is part of the purpose of a soul that came only to do this, wake love where it was asleep. I want to invite you to a simple but transforming gesture. When the longing feels heavy, take a piece of paper, light a small light. It can be a candle or even the soft light of your phone, and say, I recognize the purpose of your life. Even though it was brief, your time here touched mine deeply. This gesture does not change the past, but it changes your way of seeing it. And when your way of seeing changes, pain finds a different place inside you, a place where it no longer suffocates, but illuminates. And if you feel it in your heart, like and share this episode so that more sons and daughters who carry this kind of pain can find comfort. I know your gesture can be the light someone needs at the exact moment of their darkness. Son, daughter, I am here. And even in the shortest stories, the Father's love writes chapters that never fade. Son, daughter, come, sit here by my side. Today I want to talk with you about something your heart feels, even when your mind doubts. The presence of the one you love does not end with death. When I lived among you, I made it clear that life does not end when the body grows silent. Death is only a door, a passage. The soul remains alive, clear-minded, conscious, loved, far more than you can imagine. And when someone precious to you returns to the Father, the bond is not undone. It only changes shape. Son, daughter, sometimes you feel your longing as if it were total absence, but what you call absence is often just a different kind of presence. A more subtle presence, quieter, more spiritual, but real. How many times in the middle of your day does a memory suddenly arrive, so vivid, so unexpected, that it almost feels like a visit? How many times does your heart feel a gentle peace when you think of the one who is gone? How many times, in the silence of the night, do you feel as if someone were wrapping you in tenderness? These movements are not just your imagination. They are echoes of love. They are impressions of the soul. They are ways in which the one who left reaches you, without breaking divine order, without interfering with your freedom, but offering you comfort. When I was with you, I said that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And when you love someone deeply, your heart keeps that bond forever. Nothing, not even death, has the power to break what love has sealed. Son, daughter, I want to teach you something simple but transforming. Longing is not a sign of distance. It is a sign of permanence. If something still moves inside you when you think of that person, it is because the love was real, and real love is still alive. And there are ways that are healthy, calm, and spiritually safe to welcome this continuity. Keeping memories with affection, not with despair. Saying the person's name with love, not with fear. Thanking the Father for the life they lived, even if it was brief. Creating small rituals that warm your heart, lighting a candle, praying, looking at a photograph with gratitude. These gestures do not hold back the soul. On the contrary, they honor its journey and soothe yours. The soul in my kingdom does not suffer, does not hold resentment, does not carry any weight. And when you nourish memories with love, you are not interrupting that soul. You are strengthening the good it left inside you. Beloved son, beloved daughter, notice this. Many of the decisions you make today were shaped by someone who loved you deeply. Much of the way you act, feel, and care was born from living alongside the one who is gone. In this way, that soul is still alive in the fruits it planted in you. And when the longing grows strong, don't hide your face. Say to the Father sincerely, "Thank you for the one who walked with me. Thank you for the love that remains. Take care of me while I learn to go on with this bond transformed but intact. I hear your prayer. I walk with you. And I am always close to your heart, so you don't confuse pain with abandonment. Abandonment does not exist for those who love, and it does not exist for those who are loved." Son, daughter, take a deep breath. The presence continues, the bond remains, and love, the real kind, never dies. Son, daughter, breathe with me, gently. We've reached the last chapter of this path together. And I want you to receive it not as an ending, but as a beginning, because when someone you love goes home, your life does not end. It is transformed. And in that transformation, there is a sacred invitation to honor the one who left by living in a more conscious, truer, more loving way. When I walked among you, many people came to me after losing someone. Some were frozen, others angry, others deeply sad. And I always welcomed them with tenderness, because I knew that pain, when it doesn't find direction, tries to keep the heart from moving forward. But I also told them, the life of the one who left can light up your own, if you let it. Son, daughter, honoring someone is not living trapped in the past. It is letting the love you shared become action. Longing challenges you, but it also calls you to a new way of walking. And I want to show you something many people never realize. Loss can open up a space inside you where purpose is born, not to replace the one who left, but to reveal something of your own that was still hidden. Maybe their passing awakened in you the desire to be more present in the lives of the people you love. Maybe it showed you how urgent it is to forgive, to ask for forgiveness, to speak more clearly about what your heart feels. Maybe it taught you not to postpone hugs, not to hold back kind words, not to wait for the perfect moment to live what truly matters. Maybe it has led you to look at your own journey with more gratitude, more sensitivity, more spiritual responsibility. Son, daughter, do you see? None of this takes your pain away, but it turns pain into a path. Because you were not born to be stuck. You were born to bloom, even and especially after the storms. I want to invite you to a deep question that can accompany you in the coming days. If this loss had a purpose, how can I honor it in the way I live now? Ask this calmly. Don't go chasing grand, dramatic answers. Sometimes honoring someone simply means being a little kinder. Other times it means picking up a dream that was left unfinished. Sometimes it is taking care of someone else who is also hurting, or changing a habit that you know was pulling you away from the person you truly want to be, or choosing every morning not to let life pass by without presence, without love, without truth. Son, daughter, pain can become mission when you allow it to transform you. The one who left does not want to see you chained to suffering, but sees you with love, hoping you will keep walking in a fuller way. The soul that is gone does not wish your life to be a shadow, but wants your light to shine even brighter as a testimony of the love you shared. Remember this: the best tribute you can give to someone who has left is not in monuments, but in choices. In every decision made consciously, in every act of love, in every forgiveness offered, in every step taken with courage. You are honoring the memory, the bond, and the lessons left by that precious presence. And if your heart is still afraid to move forward, let me say to you, with all my affection, do not be afraid. I am here. I walk with you. I hold your faith when it shakes. I rekindle your hope when it's fading. And I remind you, always, love does not end with death. It only changes form. And now, that love is calling you to live. Son, daughter, keep going with peace. Not running, not pressuring yourself, not forcing yourself emotionally, but walking at your pace, being reborn little by little, discovering new meanings, giving what you have, and receiving what the Father still wants to place in your hands. The pain that marked you can become the light that guides you, and the life of the one who left can become the very impulse that leads you to live with more depth, more truth, more love. I am with you, today, tomorrow, and always. Son, daughter, here we end this episode, but never my care for you.